The saga of Floyd Mayweather, once the undisputed king of boxing, has taken a dramatic turn in recent years, shifting from tales of in-ring dominance to whispers of financial ruin and public disputes. The narrative, as it unfolds, is a complex weave of legacy, wealth, and the consequences of a life lived in the spotlight. At the heart of this story is a confrontation between Mayweather and ESPN's Stephen A. Smith, a vocal admirer of Floyd's boxing prowess who has grown increasingly critical of the former champion's post-retirement choices. The clash, sparked by Smith's bold claims about Mayweather's finances, has ignited a broader conversation about money, legacy, and the price of fame. Stephen A. Smith, never one to shy away from speaking his mind, recently aired his concerns about Mayweather's financial status, suggesting that the man who once flaunted million-dollar watches and private jets might be in dire straits. According to Smith, Mayweather is not just broke but potentially millions of dollars in debt. This accusation didn't come out of nowhere. It was fueled by a specific claim Mayweather made about purchasing 62 apartment buildings in New York City for $42 million. He presented this as a solo venture, boasting of full ownership with no partners and control over all the retail spaces below. But reports quickly surfaced contradicting this, stating that Mayweather held only minor shares in these properties, not the outright ownership he claimed. Smith seized on this discrepancy, questioning whether Mayweather was exaggerating his assets to mask financial troubles or even to cover up a possible scam tied to his lavish lifestyle. The idea that Mayweather, a man who reportedly earned over $1.1 billion in his career, could be broke seems unthinkable to many. Yet, Smith's comments point to a broader pattern of behavior that raises red flags. Mayweather's career was defined by discipline and precision in the ring, qualities that earned him an undefeated record and a reputation as one of boxing's greatest technicians. Smith himself has often praised Floyd's unmatched defense, his ability to outsmart opponents, and his knack for winning fights without relying on knockouts, especially after repeated hand injuries limited his punching power. Mayweather would step into the ring, Smith noted, knowing he couldn't knock out his opponent, yet he'd still dominate by making them look foolish, unable to land a clean hit. This strategic brilliance made him a legend, a fighter who didn't just win but humiliated his rivals with his untouchable style. But that was then. In recent years, Mayweather's focus has shifted from legacy to spectacle, a change that Smith and others have criticized harshly. After retiring from professional boxing, Mayweather returned for a series of exhibition matches, starting with a high-profile bout against UFC star Conor McGregor in 2017. While that fight was a marketing success, grossing hundreds of millions, Smith argued it marked the beginning of a troubling trend. The McGregor fight at least made sense. Conor was a combat sports star with knockout power, even if he wasn't a boxer. But subsequent exhibitions, particularly the 2021 bout against YouTuber Logan Paul, left Smith and many fans baffled. Paul, with minimal boxing experience, was no match for Mayweather's skill, and the fight felt less like a contest and more like a stunt. To Smith, it screamed of a cash grab, a far cry from the disciplined artistry that defined Mayweather's prime. Smith's frustration wasn't just about one fight. He saw a pattern in Mayweather's choices, a willingness to trade legacy for quick paydays. In interviews, he pressed Mayweather on this directly, asking what mattered more, money or legacy. Floyd's responses leaned heavily on his business acumen, boasting of smart investments and monthly earnings in the millions. He spoke of setting up his children as entrepreneurs, ensuring they'd never answer to anyone. But to Smith, these answers dodged the deeper issue. Mayweather's obsession with wealth seemed to overshadow the respect he'd earned as a fighter. The Logan Paul fight, in particular, underscored this shift. When asked why he chose Paul over a more credible opponent like heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, Mayweather's reasoning was blunt. Logan had more social media followers. To him, Paul's 56 million followers trumped Fury's 4 million, translating to a bigger payday. $100 million for 6 rounds versus $35 million for 12 against a real boxer. It was a stark admission that clout and cash now drove his decisions, not competition or legacy. This money-driven mindset, Smith argued, has influenced a new generation of athletes in troubling ways. Young fighters today don't idolize Mayweather for his footwork, his ring IQ, or his defensive mastery. They admire the persona, the money Mayweather, who flaunts Bugattis, private jets, and $1.8 million watches. To Smith, this is a disservice to boxing, sending the message that wealth trumps skill. Mayweather's legacy, once defined by his untouchable record, is now at risk of being overshadowed by his own spectacle. Other boxing legends have echoed this sentiment. Oscar de la Hoya, a former rival turned promoter, publicly urged Mayweather to stop these exhibitions, warning that they're embarrassing and could tarnish his reputation. De la Hoya pointed to a recent exhibition against John Gotti III, where Mayweather controversially had the referee swapped mid-fight after a warning for illegal blows. The crowd booed, and the moment felt like a low point for a man once hailed as invincible. The financial rumors swirling around Mayweather add another layer to this narrative. Former UFC fighter Chael Sonnen, who covered the Mayweather-McGregor fight, claimed the event wasn't the financial juggernaut it appeared to be. He alleged that empty seats were filled with dressed-up stand-ins to create the illusion of a sold-out crowd, a tactic to prop up Mayweather's image. Older stories also resurface, like reports from before the Money Mayweather era when Floyd, then known as Pretty Boy Floyd, faced jail time over unpaid taxes. To avoid prison, he reportedly borrowed $2 million to settle part of his debt, a far cry from the financial genius he later portrayed himself to be. More recently, a staggering $22.2 million IRS bill came to light, forcing Mayweather out of retirement to pay it off. For someone who claimed to be the wealthiest athlete alive, such debts raise serious questions about the reality behind the flash. Even those close to Mayweather have weighed in. Rapper 50 Cent, once a friend, revealed in interviews that Floyd's spending was reckless. Jewelry, gambling, and extravagant purchases drained his fortune. According to 50 Cent, the exhibitions against YouTubers weren't a choice but a necessity to cover mounting debts. He even hinted at legal leverage over Mayweather's The Money Team, TMT brand, claiming he incorporated it while Floyd was incarcerated, a technicality that could disrupt Mayweather's empire. Whether true or not, these comments paint a picture of a man whose financial house is far from in order. Perhaps the most shocking claim came from Gervonta Davis, a former protege of Mayweather. Davis alleged that Floyd wasn't on a world tour, as he claimed, but was instead stuck in Dubai, held hostage over unpaid debts tied to luxury jewelry and other items. According to Davis and boxing agent Rick Glazer, Mayweather was entangled in Dubai's legal system, unable to leave until the debts were settled. The story took a bizarre turn with reports that someone in Floyd's camp stole a piece of jewelry, leaving Mayweather to pay for it while authorities refused to release him until the item was returned. Floyd's social media posts, showing him living it up in Dubai, clashed with these claims, leading many to question whether he was spinning a narrative to save face. His earlier claim of owning 62 buildings worth $42 million now looked like another attempt to project wealth amid growing scrutiny. Even acts of charity have come under suspicion. When Mayweather posted about donating to homeless shelters in Los Angeles, it initially seemed like a positive move. But confusion arose when his Instagram showed him in Dubai at the same time, contradicting the timeline of the donation. Was it a genuine act or a PR stunt to repair his image? The incident only deepened doubts about his credibility, with fans and analysts alike wondering what to believe. Mayweather's defenders point to his past discipline as evidence of his resilience. Those who've seen him train describe it as a masterclass in work ethic, every rep intense, no shortcuts taken. Even in his 40s, he'd leave clubs at 3 a.m. and run 6 miles down the Las Vegas Strip, entourage in tow. This relentless drive made him the highest-paid athlete in the world, not just in boxing but across all sports. His former personal shopper recalled the privilege of witnessing this dedication, a testament to why Mayweather rose to the top. Yet, that same discipline seems absent in his financial decisions, where excess has replaced precision. The contrast between Mayweather's past and present is stark. He was never a knockout artist like Mike Tyson or a cultural icon like Muhammad Ali. His fights, at times, were criticized as boring, prioritizing defense over entertainment. But his brilliance lay in control of the ring, his opponents, and his career. He answered to no one, building a brand that made him a billionaire. Yet, that control now seems to be slipping. Lawsuits, like one filed by a Miami jeweler, loom over him, with reports suggesting he may need to sell assets to cover debts. The man who once symbolized invincibility now faces questions about his solvency and his choices. Stephen A. Smith's critique cuts to the core of this transformation. He's never denied Mayweather's greatness, consistently giving him credit for an unmatched career. But he argues that greatness comes with responsibility, to the sport, to fans, and to oneself. By chasing clout and easy money, Mayweather risks becoming a cautionary tale, a legend who let wealth define him over legacy. Smith's question, what matters more, money or legacy, still hangs in the air, unanswered by Mayweather's actions. As the rumors grow louder and the exhibitions continue, one thing is clear. Floyd Mayweather's story is far from over, but its next chapter may not be one he controls.